Esteban. When I was first learning guitar, at the time I was doing so on the TV, there was a man selling a video cassette along with a spruce acoustic guitar and a very cheap electric amplifier in a package, promising to teach you how to play like some sort of facsimile of him. Perhaps you're familiar with the Esteban series. If you're not missing out on much, but I couldn't kick off today's lesson on the Phrygian mode and the harmonic minor and the melodic minor and not think of something like one of those exercises from the Esteban video. The Phrygian mode is very, very heavily associated with the Spanish sound on guitar, and you'll understand why hopefully a little bit better by the end of this lesson. But I also feel like I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the harmonic and melodic minors as well. So let's get right into it. I'm going to get my notes up for today's lesson here. If we take a look here at the notes of A minor, I've set up a dividing line here, and I'm going to make this make sense in just a second. So the notes in A minor are just all of the natural notes. If we want to play this on the board here, I'm going to come to the 5th fret here on the E string, and I'm just going to play green patterns here on E and A. So 5, 7, 8. Then I'm going to go to the A string, 5, 7, 8, and then 5, 7 would round out the scale. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. Now the reason I have this dividing line here, I'm going to explain in just a second, but if we're talking about the A minor chord scale, we can even think about that real quickly. Every minor key, every major key, every key essentially has corresponding chords that go to each note in the scale. Not trying to sound too fancy here, but A has a chord, B has a chord, C has a chord, D has a chord, E has a chord in the key of A minor. And the formula for that in the key of A minor, we got A minor, we got B diminished, we got C major, we got D minor, we got E minor, F major, G major, and A minor. If you don't know your chord scales, I definitely recommend digging in on those more. Perhaps I will put together a videotape on that more in the future. But specifically, what I want to lock in on is how do we get to the harmonic and melodic minor? And the trick here is, if we think of the scale, going back to just like note degrees, I'm going to go Sound of Music on you, do, re, mi, fa, so. This relationship between do and so, in the case of the key of A minor, we got do, re, not re, I know, mi, not me, I know, fa, and then we have so. Now, a lot of people in Europe in particular, but it's not just exclusive to Europe, but we see this harmonic trend really become popular in Europe a few centuries ago here. People started thinking that this relationship between A minor and E minor just sounds a little bit dark. It's not bad, there's nothing wrong with it. And that would be the right chordal relationship if we used the family of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A. But people like Beethoven and Mozart, among others, come along, and I'm just going to use Für Elise as an example here. They start thinking, well, it'd be better instead of going da na 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 da na na na. It might be better to make that. This is not a singing lesson here. Sorry about that. A minor to E major. So if we are going to play E major here instead of E minor. Actually, it's very easy visually here. That's the G. If we're playing E minor, I leave the open G, right? If I want to have E major, I need to make that G sharp. So then that would change the formula in my scale to A, B, C, D, E, F, G sharp. And we get that very cool big step between F and G sharp before returning to A. That sounds very exotic. It's fun. It's a very cool sound. Now, another way of thinking about this is, okay, well, if most chordal relationships or cadential relationships here are relationships between our first degree, in this case A, and our fifth degree, we can almost kind of think of these as like two little do, re, mi, fas, by which I mean A minor, if I'm going to play this chord, it necessarily needs the A, B, C, D in the key of A minor. Not necessarily, I guess I could go if I wanted to get kind of exotic with it, right? But I need to be thinking about how I'm kind of connecting this first part. And then once we get to the E chord, if I want to use an E chord here, I've got to walk it back. So there would be E, I could go F, I could go F sharp. So, right? That works. Or if I do the E, F, G sharp, A minor, that is considered a harmonic minor resolution. I'm basically doing the bare bones here. If I go, that is the melodic minor resolution. So you might have heard about harmonic and melodic minor, maybe even seen them in black dot diagrams and been kind of baffled by them, like, okay, when would I use that sort of thing? And really what you need to be on the lookout for is if I'm in a minor key, A minor, and we go to E7, if I'm in G minor, and we go to D7, okay, these are opportunities where I can deploy the harmonic or melodic minors to resolve that progression because I have that dominant 5 chord here. Or either one works, right? So how do I play that on the instrument? Isn't that a good question? I'm so glad that rhetorically I asked that question because I bet you were wondering it yourselves. All right, let's talk about the melodic minor first because I have 2 easy tricks for you guys today on how to better execute the melodic and harmonic minors. So for the melodic minor, this can get a bit confusing. Obviously, if you're able to, if you're good enough and conversant enough on theory, to be thinking about this as I was suggesting earlier, the kind of more intermediate way, think about our scales in 2 halves here, right? We have the journey to so, do, re, mi, fa, so. I know it's not do, re, mi. It's fine. It's going to be okay, right? And then we have our destination back, right? Or either one makes sense for that D chord. Feel like I'm going to be playing something Addams Family here in just a moment if I kind of keep it up. But yeah, we get a resolution one way or the other through the harmonic or melodic minor. In essence, either one's kind of kosher. Now, depending on what other chords are happening in the song that you are playing, maybe doing something a little spicy with that 6 interval is spicy in the moment, but it might play. Like, try it out. Especially with like harmonic, melodic, minor modes. Try them out. See what works. That's what backing tracks are for. All right, let's get into the tricks here. So the melodic minor. I think the easiest way to think about the melodic minor, I know I threw out a lot of other stuff here about formulations, A minor and the walk up from A minor to E major or E minor conversely, right? Here's another way of thinking about it. Let's think about it as just a major scale with a minor third. I know, right? Is it really that easy? Yes. Okay, so to go back here real quickly, I've been in A minor this whole time, right? A, B, C, D, E, right? There's our minor scale. Or there's our, you could even think of this, I can actually kind of major this up. Now, once I'm here on E, I need to go F sharp, G sharp to A. So it is A, B, C, D, E, all the way up, minor scale the first half, major scale. Or you could think of it as A major with a minor third. Really weird, right? Like if I go with this way, major, harmonic or melodic minor. So strange, and yet so true. So let me throw that diagram up on the board real quickly for all of you. All right, so we got green, we got red, we got blue. Then you'll notice here, as we get to the G and the B strings, that you've got a slightly faded out interval here. It's because you're going to play one or the other. I mean, you could play both, but the pinky on the G string is going to be the same as the index on the B string. So depending on what you're trying to do, one of those two fingerings is probably going to make more sense than the other. And then we just finish off with the green. So it's actually fairly easy to visualize. It's mostly greens and reds with just that little peppering of blue in the middle there. And that is your trick for the harmonic minor. Now or the melodic minor, Now let's talk about the harmonic minor. I was getting ahead of myself. I have formulated for all y'all here the Oops All Greens edition of the harmonic minor. Yes, that is right. We can actually play this derivation, and we can use it to ascend the board, too. I wanted to introduce a little bit of verticality into our exercises here today by just doing green patterns and following a fairly simple pattern here. Allow me to annotate real quickly. If we were at this first floor here, this first floor occurs on fret X. What is X? It's like math class. It's whatever X is. So it could be 3. Let's say it's 3. This next one here, we got X plus 2. Need to remember that. X plus 2. This is not a handwriting class. And then finally, we have X plus 5. These are going to tell us our three octave registers here. And we can really kind of divide this up based on the 2-string clusters. So you've got the B and the E string cluster at X plus 5. You've got the D and G string cluster. Oh, don't forget this guy. Living out here at X plus 2. And then finally, of course, you'd have this lower cluster here at X. Now these lavender notes are our leading tones. Lavender for leading. We are leading into our approach. So if I'm at again, I'll use the 5th fret here so you get an easy visual reference. So I'm going to slide in. And then now it's X plus 2. So 5 plus 2 is 7. And then X plus 3. Easy for you to do, Chris. So that's it's a very easy trick, and it's great because you can start playing mirroring patterns. This X plus 2, X plus 2, X plus 5 formulation actually works for all of our colors as well. So if I wanted to, I could just kind of mirror phrases using that formulation. And you get hexatonic scales this way. Hexatonic is just saying 6-note scales. So I'm dropping the 7th interval. This can actually be really nifty. So try playing around with this, because this can be a very easy way of negotiating diagonal verticality. I can just start playing like here. I'll just do a blue pattern here at 3. Easy to really move up and down the board using this system. So try it out. Now, last and certainly not least here, I'd be remiss if we did not talk about the Phrygian mode. So the Phrygian mode, to kind of circle us all the way back around, is what we deploy when we don't deploy the harmonic cadence. So like when A minor goes not to E major, but rather to the natural E minor, that's when we'd bust out the Phrygian mode. It's not any more complicated than that. It's a great scale. It certainly evokes a Mediterranean kind of quality to things here. So, play around with it. You might find that you enjoy playing around in this sort of darker minor scale as well. But the fingerings here, fairly simple. We're going to go blue. I'm going to start at the 5th fret here. So I go blue, green, green, red, and then just add on a fret here to get to the 2nd octave, and then you got your bonus notes. So that is the Phrygian mode here, and hopefully that gets you guys more comfortable with the harmonic, melodic modes, and also the Phrygian mode. If you enjoyed this lesson, hey, please leave a like. Make sure to subscribe. If you've got someone else who's interested in free guitar content, please share the video with them. Why not? Soon there will be a Patreon. It has not launched yet. I wanted to get videos out first and free content out first, essentially to make the explanation why you might want to subscribe or why you might want to get lessons from me. If you are so moved when the Patreon launches, please reach out to me, and we will definitely get together and we can do some lessons. Until then, happy practicing.